Hi everybody, it's Richard here again and welcome to another video. This time I'm going to take a look at some of the albums in my collection. I'm not going to say that they're all classic albums, but they're quite well respected albums, especially if you're a fan of this band or artist. But they all have one thing in common: they all failed to chart. They all failed to make the UK top 100 albums. So if you look in Wikipedia, you will see a big dash against the name of that album. I don't know why they didn't chart. Maybe because some of them were earlier albums and the artist wasn't as well known, but certainly there's quite a few of them that weren't. So we'll run through these. There's about 15, 17, 18 or so. And the first one up, and I think this is a really good album, and it's Van Morrison's Tupelo Honey. And this is the one with Wild Night on it and Like a Cannonball, is that what you call it? And obviously the fantastic title track. This did not make it out in the charts, and I may be wrong, but I don't think St Dominic's Preview, the one after this is 1971, charted either. But they are regarded as some of Van's finest. But why this didn't chart, especially after Moondance and his band in the street choir doing so well, this just passed everybody by at the time. Next up, now I can't believe this didn't chart, because this is the Bee Gees and this is Main Course, and this has got Jive Talking on it. It's also got Nights on Broadway on it, and it's also got Fanny Be Tender with My Love on it. I never liked that title. And this is my favourite Bee Gees album. It's the start of the disco era, but there's also the old sort of, some of it's actually quite country. For example, Come On Over was recorded by Olivia Newton-John. But you have Wind of Change, which is great, Songbird, which is great, Baby When You Turn Away. This is a really good album. It's their best album, as I say. It's my favourite album by the Bee Gees. But in the UK, it didn't make the top 100. And Jive Talking was a decent enough top 10 hit single, I believe, as well. I'm not too sure how this did in America. I'm sure it did really well. But I don't think their follow-up charted either, Children of the World, which had You Should Be Dancing on it. So, the Bee Gees, Main Course. Next up, and this is the Byrds, Sweetheart of the Rodeo, and this failed to chart, which is, this was released in the same year, I think, yes it was, as the notorious Byrd Brothers, which I think got top 20. Maybe this was too country for the audiences, I don't know. But it's not as if in those days you could sample the albums, or maybe you could in an old record shop where you could go into one of the booths. But nowadays you can sample individual tracks on YouTube and whatever, and Spotify, and decide whether you want to buy or not. But this one is regarded as one of the best. It's regarded as one of the best country albums ever as well. Didn't dent the top 100. And this has got You Ain't Going Nowhere on it, 100 Miles From Now. The one I really like is You're Still On My Mind, but it doesn't sound like the Byrds, it just sounds like a country song. Another Bob Dylan song with Nothing Was Delivered, Pretty Boy Floyd. Yeah, Hickory Wind as well. So this is the one with Graham Parsons on it. It's not my favourite album, but it certainly deserved to get into the top 100. Okay, next up, and now this may be a surprise, this didn't chart, although it did chart a few years later as part of a box set. And this is the Electric Light Orchestra's Face the Music, with the two hit singles on it, Evil Woman, and I think a minor hit with Strange Magic. This is one of the fans' favourite as well. It's usually whenever I see ELO ranking videos, this is in the top 3. Didn't make the top 100. Although whenever it was part of that 3 Light Years box set, it got to number 38, along with El Dorado and On the Third Day. And those two themselves originally didn't make the top 100 either. So that's ELO, Face the Music. Fleetwood Mac, Mystery to Me, probably because the Bob Welch years weren't selling at all, but this is an absolute fantastic album from 1973. I think it might have done quite well in America, but this has got Emerald Eyes on it, which I absolutely love, and Hypnotized, which is a beautiful song. It would be my favourite of the Bob Welch albums, but again failed to make the top 100. This one is a surprise, and I can't believe this didn't chart, and it's George Harrison's Dark Horse. Granted, it's not very good, but as I said before, how did people not know that? Or how did people know that it wasn't good unless they bought it? Maybe they thought the previous album wasn't very good, so they weren't going to buy this one. I don't know. But it's not as bad as you think. I do like that J.C. Krishna and Harry's on tour, and he does sound very croaky in this. But this is only 4 years since the Beatles split, and they had a #1 hit with Dark Horse, and I think Living in the Material World was a top 5 album as well, but this one just did not dent the top 100. Maybe this one was one of his earlier albums, but Billy Joel's Turnstiles didn't chart. He didn't actually chart until the next album, The Stranger. Eventually I believe Piano Man did chart at number 99 or something, but I think that was long after, during the time of his Uptown Girl and Innocent Man success. But this is a decent enough album with Prelude, Angry Young Men on it, Say Goodbye to Hollywood, and The Standard, which has really become a standard, New York State of Mind, but still to this date it has never hit the top 100. This is often regarded as this band's favourite best album, and this is the Kinks' Arthur. The Kinks didn't really chart after Something Else. It took till, was it last year, before Felice Green actually did make the charts. But this one here, it sold nothing, didn't chart. Fantastic album, and any Kinks collector will have this definitely in their top 5. Some of them put it at #1. Another one which has since gone silver, but it has never charted, and it's The Velvet Underground by The Velvet Underground, and I don't think any of their, well, none of their albums charted at the time. I think they all sold about a dozen each, but this, like Felice Green, actually became silver. Felice Green actually became gold before it charted. It was a gold album, but then it did chart again, or for the first time in 2019, but it already had that gold status. This one has just gathered constantly, never reached the top 100, but it is now a silver album. A big band from America in the 80s, not so big here, although the first success actually came here, and this is The Cars, and this is Shake It Up, and this is probably their best album, but never charted here. This is the one with the title track, Since You're Gone, I'm Not the One, which is a gorgeous song. Victim of Love, A Dream Away. This is very, very consistent. I think this is from 1981. Didn't chart. All this guy's studio albums charted apart from this one. Why, I do not know. It's Leonard Cohen's Recent Songs from 1979. Maybe they were put off by the previous album, which was produced by Phil Spector. But no, this didn't make a dent, and this is actually really good. This has got the guests on it, and the gorgeous ballad of The Absent Mayor. Beautiful album, but did nothing. A surprise that this didn't chart, considering it was a huge hit single off it, and this is All Summer Long by the Beach Boys, and this is the one with I Get Around on it. It didn't chart. The thing is, Surfing USA did, but this one didn't, and this one came after. Now maybe Surfing USA actually charted about a couple of years after it was originally released, I'm not so sure. But I think the first album really to chart for these guys was Today, but or was it maybe a Surfer Girl, but that was a couple of years after it was released as well. But this one with, as I say, I Get Around, Wendy, Girls on the Beach, All Summer Long, didn't dent the top 100. This one is a bit of a surprise because they had quite a bit of success with singles. This is Status Quo, Dog of Two Head, and this has got the one with Mean Girl on it, which was in 1973. The single, this is from 72, but they still didn't go and buy this after that single, and I can never pronounce this. Is it Gardundula is on this as well. This is a really strong album, but I think the first Quo album to actually chart properly was the one Pile Driver from 72, and this is the one slightly before it, but this is pretty good. It's the last for Pie. They didn't have very much success with Pie with their albums. This one here, and it's Stevie Wonder, Music of the Mind. The same year or the next year, Talking Book came out, and that's what really elevated Stevie with the album sales. Although I do think he did have a couple of minor hits in the 60s. I think My Sharia Moore album actually charted, but this one was forgotten about and did really next to nothing. I don't really recognise any of the singles off this. I believe Evil was a single and Superwoman, but I would have to play this album again to see if I know them. So Stevie Wonder, Music of the Mind. This one here is debut album by Graham Parker. I've shown this before. I'm just showing this because it's absolutely brilliant, from 1976, and it failed to chart, and I can't believe that it failed to chart because it is so damn good. He hasn't had success with albums, Graham Parker, which is a damn shame. He hasn't had success with singles either because he's such a good songwriter, but you know, I will always keep on telling everybody that this is brilliant. This is better than My Aim Is True. There's so many influences in this. There's Van Morrison influences, there's Stones influences, there's a little bit of rockabilly influence. Brilliant album. So that's Graham Parker's Howlin' Wind. Okay, I'm going to show 3 CDs before I get back to one more greatest hits album. Bob Marley and the Wailers, Catch a Fire, didn't chart, from 1973. Has the songs Concrete Jungle, and the most famous one would be Stir It Up, but did nothing. From 1996, Johnny Cash, Unchained. In fact, everybody raves about the Johnny Cash American Recordings albums, and quite rightly so, they're brilliant. But the first one to chart was actually the 4th one, I believe, and the only reason it charted was because he died. And then the 5th and the 6th both charted. But this one is like a Johnny Cash with Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. It's a really, really strong album, and possibly my favourite. Maybe 4 is, I'm not sure. And then this one, and this really got slated as well as not charting. This is Mike Oldfield's The Millennium Bell, and I think this is fantastic. This is actually takes a look at music through the ages. I think it's really, really good. I didn't like it at the start. I thought it was dreadful until I bought one of those CD plus live DVD packs. It was the CD plus the DVD of the live CD, and a lot of it was this, and I watched the actual DVD and I thought, God, this is really good, and I came back to this, and I love this album. This is in my top 5 or 6 anyway of Mike Oldfield albums. And lastly, I'm going to show Greatest Hits, which for some reason didn't chart either. Their previous all their 3 albums charted in 1981, 82 and 83. This was released in 84 and did nothing, and it's Altered Images. This is Collected Images, and this just gathers up all the singles and a couple of dance mixes, and it is really, really good. And it even has a version of Song Blue, the Neil Diamond song, on it, but it didn't chart. I can't even remember seeing this in the shops either at that time. So Altered Images from 1984, Collected Images. Okay, so that's some of the albums I have that I like. Some are regarded as classics, some are regarded as, yeah, they're pretty good. But there's no real stinkers there, but none of them charted. Okay, that's me for now. I hope to have another video quite soon. All the best now. Bye bye.